Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. This is going to be a summary of the third episode of Traitors Season 4. My name is Cardamami.
I'm MC.
And I'm Mimi.
We're camera shy. We're not AI. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing we should talk about is the breakfast, which is post murder. What did you think about how everyone spoke during the breakfast, and what did you think about who was murdered?
Listen, this episode started very strong. I was like, okay, I can see why they had this be the third one in this like series of first three episodes dropped. It was very exciting watching everyone come in. I had high tension, high fear that Monet was going to be murdered. And definitely sweet relief when Monet walked in. I did want to say, on the, continued line of hating Michael, my favorite line from breakfast was the second Michael walks in, Jam Jam goes, "Big surprise, Michael's here." And I'm like, yes, continue to throw that traitor slander his direction.
Obviously, Rob C got out, and it continues the trend of gamers being out, which honestly
Mhm.
just adds to the chaos and adds to more of just a chaotic approach, and I do love that. And I think there is strategy to it. Obviously, Candace, who wasn't even part of it, wanted it Rob C gone because of how he was clocking what was taking place. But um,
Mm-hmm.
but during breakfast, Jam Jam saying to Michael when they were arguing. Jam Jam was saying arguing was to Michael saying like if you had 100, I'll be at 100, and if you had a 10, I'm at a 10. He's
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like I watched him on a season of Survivor, and he's so calm and collected and very kind of like very joyous, and I've never seen him so annoyed by anyone, and is
Oh,
being so annoyed by
interesting.
Michael. Like he is pissed, and you could really get the vibe throughout everything. Yeah.
I received feedback that I shouldn't show pictures of other people when discussing Michael. And I think that makes sense. But I still do not want him in my phone. So instead, I'm just going to show random things that people have said about him
Yeah.
whenever we need to discuss him. This is a still of someone
Yes.
saying that they don't even know if Michael's a traitor, but he's being very vocal again.
Literally, he's so annoying and he makes it so personal. And I don't know if it's a tactic or if he's just a terrible person or a combination of the two, which is probably likely. But Jim Jim was right. It was like, you're taking this way personally. You're like, he's like, oh, I want to, he's like, I want to murder you basically for being a traitor. And it's like, do you know you're on a television show?
Truly, truly.
Another interesting thing I thought was during the breakfast, Caroline started to clock some people. And one of the people she was clocking a little bit was Miss Donna over here.
Hmm.
I thought that was quite interesting. Caroline, I think, is another one to watch who might be. This is Caroline, everybody, who might be in the line of sight of the traders because she's
Hmm.
another one who's observing and, kicking back and checking out what's going on.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
What did you guys think of Donna coming in and being like, I'm not a threat. Like, we don't know each other yet. Like this kind of like her method of deflection. Did you find it convincing as a viewer?
I did not, but that's because I'm familiar with this tactic. And I
Hmm.
feel like anytime someone starts with, I promise I'm not going to kill you, it usually means they want to.
I, I think
Oh.
I think that it comes off less sincere after being targeted the first time.
Aha.
If that was discussed
Hmm.
from the jump and she took time to get to know people in that first day, which we see is because she might have been stressed from being the secret traitor. I think that that might have changed the dynamic, but saying it at this point might be just a little too late and was too late.
I'm a little delusional because I think I was like, well, she seems so calm. She doesn't seem like she feels like she's under fire. Like maybe it's not her, but luckily I'm not playing because I would have lost.
What were your thoughts on the murder?
I know I said last time that I felt like if they were targeting gamers, people would be like, well, it's clearly non-gamers in the turret. But I think that the timing for murdering Rob was super ripe, super necessary. And I'm so glad they did it because I'm very concerned if they hadn't, my girl Candace would be in big red hot danger otherwise. So good timing for the traitors.
Yeah. And I think that was the best choice for sure. Like, um, when we chatted last time, I mentioned that I thought it was going to be Rob C, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Sad to see him go, but also like it made a ton of sense. And I love that the people that are quote unquote not the gamers but are traders are making these decisions because these decisions make sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Ian decision makes sense. The Rob C decision makes sense. Like I saw, not to bring something in, but I saw an exit interview from Ian and saying at the beginning he was talking to Rob about snakes and he was sharing how much he knew about snakes. And Rob looked at him kind of weird because of how much he knew. And then Ian's like, wow, I hope he's not a traitor because he looked at me a little weird. And knowing that he got murdered the night one, he was like, I don't know if that's the reason, but Rob didn't like me after I showed how much I knew and how much I like how observant I am. And so
Mm.
I feel like they're all playing smart. Like, Candace, Rob, and Lisa, and I love that. And I think it's
Yeah,
all good choices. I though when Donna got out, which I guess we'll talk about, but like I think Donna and the people that Donna chose, I don't know if I think those were the best choices, but I think the traders from the list that they got have been choosing the right people to kill.
I will say I'm still surprised that it wasn't Tara Lipinski, but I think that goes more
I
to, this might serve her, them not seeing her as a threat, and who knows if they even registered that they registered that she came and sat down next to them because they started
hmm
speaking about different things, but it might be that they are not registering her as someone who's observant enough to start to put two and two together. So that might help her.
And
Absolutely. And Candace did say she needed her curling wand. So
yeah, 100%.
Well, while folks were eating breakfast, thinking that they were preparing for the challenge that day, Alan comes in and tells them, actually, we're going to have a roundtable before the challenge. What did you think of this little twist?
I loved it. The way I like sat up in my seat, my heart started racing. I was like, oh my God, yes. And, I had a series of delusions at the beginning of this episode, and I wrote down, ooh, roundtable before the mission. And after that huge fight with Michael, I thought, amazing timing to get Michael out. Is that production magic, or was this pre-planned that this roundtable would happen after breakfast? I was living in la la land because that was where this was going at all. But I was very excited. I love that they're changing things up this season.
Mhm. I agree. I like the changes. I thought it was interesting that they did that. And the one thing is that what makes it hard is that whatever people were feeling the night before is probably going to stay the
Mm-hmm.
same. And
Mhm.
so
Mm-hmm.
Donna was the second person left, and Donna ended up being the next person out. And but I think in that way, clearly it was a unanimous vote. I don't know if anything would have changed. So I'm glad and it was
Mm.
exciting to do it. So I don't want them to always be doing it, but having like a change of pace is good to make
Mm-hmm.
sure to change things up is like really important for the show and the dynamic so people don't get too like gamifying it, you know?
Mhm. Yes, I agree. I also felt like these were some Love Island producer moves, and I do not mind producers getting involved to create chaos. I love that. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciated this. I appreciated that they were just kind of like, throwing things off to throw things off and to keep people excited and destabilize them. I think that's the kind of producer involvement I like.
Agreed, agreed. Shape the procedure, not the substance.
Yes.
Let the
Hmm.
cast do their thing.
Yes.
You paid all this
Um,
money for them to be here, so let them do their thing.
exactly. I will say right before the roundtable happened, I thought it was hilarious that Donna walks into a room and they're all like right in front of her, and she straight up is like, "I hear the shushes." Like she like. I felt a little bad for her in that moment. And I will say, I continued to believe her in this moment because I thought, wow, she's so cool and calm and collected. Like, perhaps she's not the traitor, but, I was the only one.
Well, speaking of the round table, which one of you would like to start with the case that was brought against Donna and then really the case that was brought against Michael?
MC, you go for it.
I mean, and I want to go into it because Colton was claiming that Colton led the charge against Donna, and I want to be clear that Colton thought it was Donna first round. Natalie brought it up the first round, and Colton didn't even vote Donna,
Mm.
so that annoyed me. But Colton was saying that Donna has two athletes, and I think she's a cold-blooded killer. And
Mm.
I feel like everyone was giving these like soft questions to her, and she
Yes.
really just couldn't. I feel like she didn't do bad, but I feel like she didn't really do anything well, and I feel like her excuses for Michael were just like he's loud and annoying, but wasn't being a traitor. So I feel like she didn't have any substance to what she was saying personally, and I think
Mm.
everyone already going in was like it's Donna unless she says something else, and she just I felt she just couldn't give
Mhm.
anything else because she was so deep in it at that point. If she had a whole day to get to know people, maybe, but I think that like the setup was difficult for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that after the roundtable, they said that basically at no point did she say, "I'm not the traitor." Like she wouldn't say those words, and that gave me a lot of like it kind of opened my eyes to it because I bet you she's one of those people who's like, "I'm not gonna lie directly," like some
Mm.
weird like motto you came into this game with because why wouldn't you do that? And so then I understood a lot more why it was like so maybe obvious it was her. But I will say, I thought her defense of herself when she redirected to Michael, I mean, I thought that was great. I was like, why is no one eating this up? Michael is clearly distracting everyone, being ridiculous. Yeah.
I thought it was a bit, so I thought that was a misstep on her end, only because Ron
Yes.
mentioned that the people he gravitated to were Donna and Michael. I'm like,
Yes.
Ron, but so as a result, I thought it was a misstep for her to basically turn on her only other ally.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter because of the end result, but I felt like, ooh, if she's not voted out, that's going to be a problem because she only really has these two people and she just turned against the one who was like, the worst of all and would definitely hold on to that forever.
Good point. Very good point. You know what? Why though it did work to her favor is because Michael isn't out here targeting the innocent white woman, right? He's fixated on Jam Jam, even though Donna is the one throwing him under the bus.
Right. Right, exactly. I also thought it was interesting that Candace hopped on the Donna is
Mhm.
the traitor bandwagon too. Because, of course, we know that she knows that Michael is not a traitor. And I'm curious if maybe she's thinking, let's keep him on because he's so rambunctious and is such a distraction and is going to make it harder for them to figure out who the real traitors are. What do you two think
Yeah.
about that theory?
I think 100%. Like I think that
Mhm.
there's no benefit, which is so annoying for us, but there's no benefit for the traders to get Michael out. Because
Yeah.
Michael's going to be loud and wrong, and maybe eventually he will be right. But he didn't. I think he did vote for Portia, but I don't think he was like necessarily like really. He was voted for Portia because he was scared about getting out, and he voted for Jam.
Mhm.
He was the only one to vote not for Donna last round, and I think that he really is just set up to be this, hopefully not this annoying person that's brought very far, but
Mhm.
he has no benefit, and the only person that will people that will vote him out are Faithful because Faithful like I'm so sick of you at this point, or
Yeah.
Tiffany who thinks he's a traitor, um, but but yeah, so at least that's the thing that's like a little frustrating. But I think Candace made a great move. Like, yeah, why am I gonna go for Michael and also like let me help lead this consensus for somebody whom I do think that Rob, Lisa, and Candace genuinely did think it could be Donna. And I think that
Mm.
they were okay to take that because I feel like they genuinely also got to be like, I didn't know who the traitor was, and they got to celebrate too. So I feel like it was a good move all around.
I just want to say, while we had Ron on our screen, I did want to ask y'all, what did you think of his self defense for his actions the night before? he basically said that he's a leftover, no one includes him, and nobody respected him until they realized he could change hearts and minds. Um, so, yeah, what do we think? He said he was just presenting the evidence.
I feel like it was very boo-hoo, I'm a victim, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get me wrong, people know each other coming in, and a lot of people have these dynamics, but he was the one to put himself in that position to be like, I have
Mm-hmm.
evidence. I feel committed to this evidence. You should vote with me. Trust me. He was wrong, and now he's like, "Oh, I'm this black sheep that no one wants to be around." And it's like, well, you put yourself in this position. Like you literally put yourself in this position. I just feel like it's one of those situations where it's
Mm-hmm.
like what did you expect? And like I feel like he's less apologetic and more of like, oh, but I feel so bad.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's so ridiculous for him to say, "Oh, you guys, I guess you don't trust me. That's why you left me out." What are you talking about? Donna was clearly your number one. That's why you were left out because they were targeting Donna. Like this wasn't so personal against you. And like, I just thought it was like so strange and unconvincing to be like, oh, woe is me because I like not just presented evidence, but like was really, really pushing it and pushing other people not to change their mind to the evidence that came before them. Like, I don't know, I'm not buying it.
I found it so annoying because he did also say, you didn't think I could use my voice. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Ron, relax. This is not the like he was going into that, that at the end of every movie where it's like, you never believed in me, but I believed in myself and I proved you wrong. Like, Ron, relax, okay? And you're completely right that he definitely was painting himself as the victim, but that I do not think this is an example of someone who was not trusted to use his voice. I couldn't believe he said that. Who was not
I
trusted to
know.
use his voice.
Right.
And that was a leftover and like everyone abandoned. I mean, he made a choice. He admitted that he decided to align himself with Donna and Michael. Like that was his choice. And I was thinking, oh,
Mm-hmm.
is he thinking like I guess Michael is the only celebrity here to me. So I'm going to be with the celebs. And I know Donna from that whatever show I did. Like, they're the
Mm-hmm.
celebs. So let the celebs hang out together. I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
with these reality TV stars. Well, wrong
Yeah.
choice.
It also sounds like he's kind of rewriting history a little bit because from Candace's point of view, at least, right? We get that scene with her and Monet where she says, I'm taking it kind of personally. Like, I don't know where that flip came from. And for
Oh,
there to have
wow.
been a flip indicates that they were in relation with each other prior to this vote.
Mm,
So I don't know. Something's not adding up.
good point. We also now need to talk about Michael and how obnoxious he was at this roundtable. I
Yes,
have a few pictures I would like to share.
please.
Um,
Honestly, I was so focused on Monet in this moment, and I agreed with Monet, but Eric's face, oh my gosh. Eric was like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, I just feel like, honestly, the fact that he went through the whole chorus was like, you are the most
Yeah,
obnoxious person.
yeah.
Like, you were somebody who, like, doesn't know when to stop? Um,
truly.
and was this the same episode? Yeah, this was the episode that he said, that he's like, if you're from New York, you gotta be one of three
Yeah.
things, and I'm a, I actually don't know what I
He
can
said he
say
said
to,
I'm a crap trash talker, which I was
yes,
like, you know
yes.
what? That's a great adjective to put in front because you are not good at it. And quite frankly, I
Ah.
thought he was destroyed in his argument.
There was a point. I know this is at breakfast, but I think it was breakfast, not the round table. But he was like you're a big stinky doo doo traitor to the young
Yes.
man. I'm like,
What?
I was like, what? Like, like, are you
Yeah.
literally like a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
Um,
And then in the roundtable he said, "Oh, we're trying to get out dirty, deceptive, deceitful traitors." Like I just know his it's really I don't know, something's off.
It was so strange.
so
I
strange.
did catch that he went that hard and I felt like he's doing he's using the strategy of making it like I think MC was saying this about season 1 of the Traitors that making it almost like a personal moral argument of like I would
Yes.
never be a traitor as if like anyone would say, you know what, I know this is the first episode of this TV show, but I just can't be a traitor.
Hmm.
So yes, I'm gonna self eliminate first episode. Like,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like they do know this is a game and a TV show, right? Like why are we making these like moral like conclusions? Like I don't know. So
I did
interesting.
catch that Rob was amused by this, so that's
A
bolstering
hundred
my
percent.
theory that they're gonna do their best to keep Michael around
One
for as
hundred
long as they
percent.
can.
Every time Michael opens his mouth, the traitors are a little bit more safe because they
Yes.
cannot come to a decision.
Yes. I feel bad for Jam Jam, but I love that he's fighting back. I love that he's not just
Me
taking it,
too.
and he's
Mhm.
like, yeah, okay. That was a quick response of, is this what you guys sing in the turret?
I completely agree. And once again, I feel like we saw like a little moment of racial solidarity because those are the only people who seem to be in solidarity with each other right now. But Monet kind of in this moment where Michael is singing the song, being really obnoxious. And again, I think taking it personal, right? And Monet says, Michael, like, let's not. Like, this is not, he's like the one person who says something. And anyway, I appreciate you, Monet, for that because at some point, like, yes, this is a TV show, but in the same way Michael is making it personal, everyone also should feel more comfortable to intervene and be like, you're taking it too far. You're being obnoxious and like borderline abusive. Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was more Monet being annoyed, but I think
Yeah.
that's a good show of solidarity as well. Two goals with
Yes.
one act.
Yes, exactly. Too
Oh,
funny.
let's
Um,
see. I think those are the main ones. We didn't get much on Ron. I will
mm,
say I was surprised that as many people as did voted for Donna. I wasn't expecting that
yes.
type of consensus. What about you two?
I was also surprised. As you all know, I was eating everything up. So I did not, I literally wrote, how does Michael do all that? And they still vote Donna. And then I wrote, oh, she's a traitor when she was revealed. I was surprised. It made me wonder if, like, the editors did a little bit of work to make it seem like Donna was doing a better job than she was, or if I'm just maybe like very bad at this game.
I I think that going in prior to the roundtable, a lot of people said that they had a plan. And in that
Mm,
plan, they mentioned Donna. And at the round table, one or two people after the Michael and Jam Jam stuff, I think somebody was a little annoyed with Michael, and somebody said, "Hey, just stick to the plan." And I think the
Oh.
dancer person, and when that happened, I wrote down they were going in with Donna. Like this is a
Oh,
consensus. And
I
so
see.
interesting.
and I think as soon as they started with Colton, who brought up Donna and was next to Donna to show like there's another vote to Michael, I was like, oh, this is pretty much Donna. Because usually like whoever they start with is like showing the most opportunity that one
Mm,
might think that there's more than one vote going on. But I was like, oh, this is
Um,
gonna be a consensus. And so I think similar to what you're saying, Mimi, I think it was a little bit of editing for sure to be like, oh, maybe it won't be who you think it's going to be, but I think everyone going in was pretty committed on it. And I think that that plan was in place last round and the information about Portia really swayed so much. And because I think a couple
mm,
people said like that information's like proof.
mhm,
Even though Michael did the same thing again, we can go down that road, but and I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, I should have stuck down to what I felt." Colton said that, one other person said that,
mhm,
and I felt like the
mm.
goal was Donna the first round, and then went back whether it was because of Swifties or doubt or the Porsche information, um, and then they decided to go back. So I do think that was the plan going in, and so the consensus I kind of saw coming for me at least.
mm,
Mm.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to Colton. Um, he was catching some things,
mhm,
because yeah, I did remember then the previous episode he'd said Donna and then, decided not to do it. But I gotta give it to him that throughout this episode he stayed focused. And even at the round table, he stayed focused. I
Yep.
love that everyone started calling her Miss Donna after Candace did.
I know, I
Yeah,
know.
what was that? That was brand new, right?
It's a new thing, but I was like, okay, Candace, I understand. It's like, she's like from like Potomac,
Right.
Maryland. But then I love that everyone was like, oh yeah, Miss Donna.
I know.
Too funny.
I know.
I like I I think I was really annoyed by Colton last episode because Colton was talked about Donna at least 4 times during the
Yeah.
episode and then voted Portia.
Yeah.
And that was very frustrating. And so, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
glad he voted it. But I do want to name that the person who actually brought it up the first round was Natalie. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think it's
I need to
important
get
to be
Natalie
like,
on my radar.
yeah, important to note that. And Colton said, "Oh, I
Hmm.
led the charge," and I'm like, calm down, man. Like, truly calm down. He wants to be. He literally wants to be like, who was the guy from last year?
Pilot
Efron,
Pete. Oh,
Pilot
from
Pete,
last
or
year.
yeah, Dylan Efron and Pilot Pete. That vibe.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what he's going for here.
Mm.
So,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I
definitely.
don't think that's what he is, but he hopes to be, you know.
Yes.
And honestly, that's not what he is, and I will share that more information in the challenge too, when a little shaking was taking place. Uh, but how do you all feel about like when Donna got up there? Because I felt like, how did you feel like the exit for Donna went?
Oh, I thought it was a great exit because she kept it short and sweet.
Hmm.
Um, and I liked that part. I was ready to roll my eyes when she started crying during her exit speech. However, I thought, you know what? That makes sense. She is correct that
Hmm.
especially as you age,
Yep.
particularly for women, people don't care about you. I don't love that, basically like the care is like, oh, you're the mom of these two football stars and you're a
Yeah.
mama bear. I don't love that. But I love that this was an opportunity for her to get to exist outside of her children and her
Yes.
marriage. So I was like, you know what? You cry your happy tears. I understand.
Yes.
Support those happy tears.
Yes.
What did you think, Nick?
I completely agree. I got a little emotional when she was saying that part because I was just like, you know what? Like, yes, like I always want to see like older women platformed and centered, and I want to hear their stories. And Donna's not necessarily the older woman that I care that much about, but I can appreciate the sentiment. And I was like, yeah, like you should be part of the game. Like we should all get to be part of the game as we age. Like our value is not lost. So, shout out to Donna. I'm glad you had a lot of fun. And I thought you did a great job as trader for me as a viewer.
I think something that I felt like whenever she turned around being like, I gotta go. I'm like, okay, you are the traitor now. Like that, I feel like
Yes,
that
yes,
gave
at
it
that
away.
point, definitely.
But I did feel like I was like, oh, I'm seeing your personality now. Like in that
Yes.
moment, and it made me sad that we couldn't see her personality in the turret because I think that's where
Yes.
people get to be like really playful in the
Mm,
way they approach. Like even like, I don't care for Rob Roush, and I feel like I've seen his personality more than like Love Island ever.
true.
It just being in the turret specifically, where he's like leaning into like how he's feeling, and I feel like, oh, I wish like you didn't even get to share with the audience what you were
Yeah.
feeling with as being a
Mm,
traitor until like the rewind after she said she was a traitor. So I do wish we saw that personality more, and I feel like that was like a misstep. But
mm,
but I don't know, it's just one of those pieces that I just feel like she didn't get to share as much, and I think the audience didn't get to see as much. And
Hmm.
so, but I did like that in that moment. I'm like, okay, you did have that, and I feel bad that we didn't get to see more of it, but it was fun to not know that a traitor was getting out.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the rewind, I'm curious what you thought of Donna's explanation for her choices, that she chose people who were quiet and maybe like wouldn't be accused of being traitors.
I thought it was a bad idea. I I I thought it was a terrible choice. I think that holistically makes sense, but Donna was somebody who was very quiet. Like from like
Hmm.
a logistics standpoint, like I feel as though, and I feel as though you're putting people in the line of fire that are like you, and
Hmm.
if I'm not saying sure if the traders knew, but if Candace, Rob, and Lisa thought about it, they could link it because when it's like, oh, quiet people going up, but then the first round she was an option out of the nine and she wasn't put up, makes you think of like,
Hmm.
oh, maybe she made sure not to put herself up. And I just feel like it I
mm.
don't think it mattered that much she got out, but I think that like she was getting people out who was similar to her, and I just felt like I didn't know if that really matched. And also saying
Mm.
that Monet is quiet is wild. And so I was like, oh, so you just didn't know Monet at all. I didn't talk to her at all.
Mm.
So I didn't think it was the best strategy. I don't think it like I don't know if that was the reason she got out. Like no one knew that, but I think that it was like that approach for her, who literally that is her personality. I feel like she should have gone another route. But that was my opinion at least.
I am torn. I thought that strategy was safer because it would make it more difficult for people to pick the pattern. The traders themselves won't be able to figure out who I am because I've just chosen people who are kind of like, in her opinion, blank slates, even though, as we know, that doesn't mean she hasn't been speaking to Monet and other people.
Right.
So I think for me, that if the strategy was to prevent them from figuring out who she was, then I think that was a smart strategy. But I think if the strategy was to prevent the entire group from figuring out it was her, then that was not a smart strategy. In that case,
Hmm.
it would have been smarter to just put the gamers
Yeah,
and make sure the people who are the savviest are eliminated quickly.
100%. It didn't seem like she was utilizing what was happening day to day as part of her choices and more like her personal interpersonal relations.
I also kind of wish that they had let the audience in on her true identity a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
I think it made sense to me for the first episode. And then maybe like midway through the second, it just would have been nice to feel that tension of knowing of an additional layer of the faithfuls don't know, but now also the traitors don't know while we have a little
Hmm.
piece of information. That would have been cool to get to also watch the
Yeah.
traitors interacting with her and talking about her, knowing that they don't know who she is either. I would have liked that.
I agree. And going to what MC was saying about like even just getting to like know Donna's personality and getting
Yeah.
that reasoning and stuff, it just would have made it a little bit more compelling.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe they would have done that if we she hadn't gotten caught so quickly.
Mm.
Well,
I
next
am
season.
Well, I'm curious. They didn't say, I mean, I guess we'll find out next episode. They didn't say, okay, that's the end of the Secret Traitor. So I'm curious if now they're just going to assign a new Secret Traitor, or if they're going to say, okay, now you have to have this fourth Secret Traitor in the room with you, or like a fourth traitor in the room with you. I'm curious.
I am curious too. I do know in the Traders UK, which is airing now in like 3 episodes ahead of like the timing, that the Secret Trader once it was like they met, it was over or it was going because they were
Mm,
going to meet that night technically. So I like to tonight after the episode 3. So we'll see. But I kind of lean towards no, but I'd be curious. But I do want to see like how the approach would be now for because technically the current traders, Rob, Lisa, and Candace, have not gotten to choose who they want out of the whole pool yet.
right.
Like they had the 2 shortlists, and even t tonight they only have the 4 or 5 that are tied to a tree. Uh, sorry, just thinking about the ending scenes, and so we'll see. But I lean towards they're not going to keep the trader to a secret trader twist.
Okay. On the or in the UK version, do they keep it to three traders or do they add a fourth?
It was I believe 3 traders, and then there was a secret trader if I'm remembering correctly.
Hmm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So like even post Secret Trader reveal, it was then it sort of reverted back to the original with the three traders getting to decide from the entire pool of people.
Yes, yes,
Uh
yes. I like the where the fourth trader came in and joined.
I would have I think I feel like maybe this just was not in their plan for her to be voted out so quickly because I feel like if they're going to introduce this, I would have wanted it to last for a little bit longer
Hmm.
just to keep things going.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think I did want to say, any thoughts on Rob asking if Mama Kelce was married?
That was nice.
Rob is a deeply unserious person.
Yes, exactly.
Truly. I do want to say if there was one person that came into the turret who put Rob's name down the first time, and then Rob would like let go of it, it probably would have been Donna. Like,
Yes.
I feel like Rob was pretty like, who's the secret traitor? Who would do this to me? And I feel like he would have been like, he would have like let his guard down a little bit.
Hmm.
So I again, I wish we saw an opportunity of Donna interacting with the other traitors, but
Hmm.
alas, uh, she's gone, never to
She's
be heard
gone.
from again,
Yes.
other than the Swifties online.
Yeah. Other than the inescapable wedding season we will experience once
Oh my
that
Oh
gosh.
God, yeah.
wedding date is assigned. Well, should we talk about the challenge?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say, like, going into this challenge scene, like, I am loving the Monet and Natalie duo pairing that we're seeing. I'm very excited about it, and I'm really curious to see like how it continues to pan out. These are two of the people I was excited to see. So, and MC mentioned to me that I think that Monet is actually a big fan of Natalie's and Survivor season, and so
Hmm.
it's a little fun to watch Monet fangirl.
Yeah.
Remind me, so did Natalie win her season of Survivor?
Yeah, so Natalie won her season of Survivor. Very like iconic moves that she made, like one of the well, definitely a top Survivor winner. And she came back for the all winner season, and she came in uh actually I think she came in second or third. I think she came in third place, but
Gosh.
she still got like she did a good job in her season. So she's a strong player, and a lot of people and I love that she knows she's a strong player and coming out very aggressive in traders. And hey, she want to play aggressive faithful game, and she's playing it. But I thought it was very fun to see these two together, knowing that Monet was such a big fan, and knowing that Natalie was like, "Hey, Monet, I'll go in the cage because I trust you." Was like, honestly, I was like, that I don't really see that version of Natalie being like, "I'm not gonna put like this into
Hmm.
my own hands." And so I was like, "Oh, that's pretty impressive." Like,
Hmm.
there's trust there. I think that's like a duo that we will need to be watching.
And let
Hmm.
me tell you something. She put her trust in the right person, okay? Like Carter Mommy, I don't know if you know this about Monet, but Monet is like a really big Marvel fan, and
Oh.
I've been watching like Monet on Dungeons and Drag Queens, and what you get from Monet in that is that Monet loves to envision herself as this like superhero doing these like cool flips and kicks and things. And I was cracking up because after Natalie got in that cage, if you go back and look at the scene where they're like walking through the forest with like the people in the cage being carried, Monet is standing next to Natalie's cage, like she is this like warrior, chest puffed, walking like ready to like pull out his sword and fight someone. It was so funny. And I was like, I know exactly what is happening in your mind right now, Monet. And you know what? You do you. I love it.
And even it's funny though because I love that for Monet, and I know Monet was like in it and got through the challenge and got Natalie out. But whenever Natalie was in the cage and saw Dorinda came back, I was like, Dorinda came back before you, Monet. Like, where you
Yeah.
at? I thought it
Like
was
even
so
Dorinda's
funny.
back.
Yeah, yeah, like even yeah, it was so much fun. But she locked in and they got it done, which was fun to see. So definitely someone two people that I am excited. I'm glad they're still on my screen. And I think technically Monet now has beaten every the most episodes of any drag queen, right? If I remember correctly.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
iconic. Um, yeah, happy for Monet.
Oh
But
my God, you're right.
in the challenge though, one thing I wanted to note was like, you know, Colton was shaking so much, and
Yeah.
but my favorite part was Caroline was in the cage. There was like they show on the screen whether it actually I think the timers on the screen are typically fake. I don't believe them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do want to say that when it was counting down from like 10 or 20 seconds left and Colton was like shaking and in the confessional, Caroline's like, I'm just trying to tell Colton, I see Colton shaking that he has to be calm, just to stay calm. And it's like 10 seconds left and she's like, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. And I'm like, it's just it's like it's so funny that she thought that what she was doing is helping, but I'm like, you were just
Yeah.
adding to what's taking place. So that
She's like,
was like
come,
one
come,
of
come,
my
come, 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 come.
yeah, yeah. One of my favorite moments for sure. So I did enjoy Caroline. I've enjoyed her, like the small moments we've gotten. So I think that was a moment of like, oh, you're not aware of yourself, and I do enjoy that. So
Yeah.
Caroline's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I did feel like I got a little more from Eric too, being like, so where's Johnny? And Johnny's like, I don't really like water. And just like walking around trying to like Johnny didn't find the skulls. And so like Eric was like never got a chance to be safe.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
do feel kind of bad for him. And then the last piece was like I did I am still like, not feeling great about Ron, but Ron being in the cage is making like side comments about everyone was pretty funny. I did enjoy. He was just like, they're struggling. It's like, ooh, they are not gonna finish. He was enjoying himself, which honestly, all you can do at that point. So
Yes, yes.
I did feel a little bad for Ron that he was the odd man out because if anyone should be the odd man out, it should be Michael. Like, I just do not
Yeah.
understand. But I guess Tiffany has this tactic of, staying close to who she thinks is the traitor. But unfortunately, she's wrong. So she's just attaching herself to a terrible person. But, you know.
Yeah. We actually forgot to discuss that Tiffany's using a strategy that is actually pointless.
Yes, completely pointless. She's like, he's gonna protect me. And it's like, what are you talking about? Oh my God.
Well, so unfortunately, there are some folks who will be up for banishment as a result of their counterparts not doing their best in the challenge.
Mhm.
Do either of you remember everyone who is up and now vulnerable?
Yes, it was Eric, Ron, Caroline, and Lisa was in her cage, but of course we know she is not vulnerable.
Yeah.
So only the three of them.
oh, I thought
Yeah.
there was one more person. Maybe I counted wrong, so I wrote that wrong, but I can't. I thought I'll double check to be sure, but I do think between the three, Eric, Gronk. I mean, I feel like they might do Caroline,
Hmm.
which I don't know if is the right move.
I don't want it to be. She's just getting started. She's another one who has a very sharp tongue when she's annoyed, and I would love to see them go after her at the round table, mostly because I would love to hear her respond.
Yes.
Um she's good. She's good when her back is against the wall or when she's annoyed with someone. So I don't want them to get rid of her just yet. But I think if they got rid of, like, I feel like it makes sense for them to keep Ron around because there's suspicion around him.
Exactly.
I mean, Eric could be someone who is like, yeah, we're starting to know more about him, but he's not really, going after anyone and he doesn't really have strong alliances. So it might be, a nothing burger with him. There's also Kristen, who's another one who was in the cage.
That's
She's the
right.
person who I thought was going to get banished last episode because
Hmm.
I feel like I see her as someone who's very smart and very observant as well.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
I, I do think
Unfortunate group.
I know. I feel like I know I'm debating who I even want to go, but
Yeah.
I get Lisa and Candace's idea of like maybe we take a housewife out so it's not too obvious, but like
Yeah.
technically you voted a housewife out already, but I guess no one has killed,
Right.
which I think like if no housewife has been killed or murdered at night, it gives a little more of like who's has control.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I am debating because I just feel like I don't know if that's the best move, you know? And I did see something before jumping on Portia doing an exit interview saying that Lisa would sell a puppy down a river.
She would.
Uh,
She would.
and I think and knowing that Lisa was the reason, I thought Lisa was one of the main reasons Portia went home because she did that vote. So
Mm.
I don't know. I think Lisa might be Lisa will be the downfall of the housewives if they don't get what they need. Like I feel like for Candace to win, Candace will have to cut Lisa.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh. Oh, that'll
Which
be
would be
interesting.
yeah, which like a trader on trader of two housewife traders going at each other at a round table would be entertaining. I am not gonna lie. So we will see. But how did you all feel about the I was thrown off when the pleas took place. I, I thought it was like a bit, and I was like, Eric's really like feeling himself. Uh,
Yeah.
Whose plea was your favorite?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love that they did please in general. It was like campy. I don't know. It was just so good. It felt so serious, but also so funny. I was like laughing and crying. Um, I really appreciated Eric's plea. I was like, you know what? They maybe should keep you alive. Like, I love somebody who's like fighting for their life and is like, I'll work with you. Like that. I
Yes.
really liked that. I also thought it was so funny when they approached and he was like, "Is that you?" I was like, "This is so dramatic. I love it. Filming this must be so fun." But I will say, Ron, you know what, Ron? Maybe you're getting back into some good graces because that was so funny when he was like just yelling about how they have to kill him because he's coming after them, and it was just so good. It was very chef's kiss. So
yeah.
maybe Ron's for the fave, but Eric's for the most convincing to keep him alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Eric's it might have just been because it was the first. Eric's was my favorite
Yeah.
I know.
because he gave us the taken line of I have a very special set of skills.
Yes. Yes.
I know. That was like so fun.
And then of course all of the like please don't do that. Like I think I didn't know what was happening, but hearing
Right.
the please don't do this
Yes.
cracked me up. All of yeah, Eric's I think was my favorite, and then Ron's I think was the most unexpected because I wasn't expecting him to do that. You better what like either kill me. It was weird. It was like don't kill me, but you better kill me. Like what?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like leave me alive. I'll make sure that I'll help you in any way I can. But if you don't kill me, watch out. I definitely for me I would say Eric because I did not expect that. Even though I should remember the campiness of traders. Like
Hmm.
I know so we can get so lost in like what strategy could be and other things, but the what we enjoy is that it's a murder mystery and these like people
Hmm.
leaning into it. And I think seeing Eric's personality
Yes.
was so fun. And I feel like this episode I really got to know Eric more, so I don't want to lose. I honestly don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am a little worried of like you know not to pull this out again, but I feel like this episode we got a lot more Eric, so I'm worried that Eric is going to be the person killed because I
Mm.
feel like in the first two episodes we got most was Rob C and Rob with C was killed. So I'm
Right.
not saying that's the way, but I feel like out of everyone there we've heard most from Eric at this point. So but I do hope he stays. But I think I liked it the most because I was thrown off by it because I didn't expect it happening, and so and then Ulan's was like the most. Ulan also was just funny by his like you better kill me.
Oh, I forgot, of course, that Eric also said, if you do kill me, I hope my ancestors. I forgot about that. All of it. I hope my ancestors come for you. I'm like, what are we talking about, Eric? I will say, Kristen's, I felt bad for Kristen because I was wondering, like, oh no, are you actually feeling like stressed with this because hers
Oh.
was a little bit like, I am okay, I am safe, I do not need to chase things. I was like, oh no, this is what I
Oh.
tell myself when I'm like trying to calm myself down. I was like, no, it's okay. I couldn't tell if she was like putting it on or if she was like, oh, this is stressful. I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't know.
Oh my God, so sad. I don't even remember Caroline's, to be honest.
I think Caroline was another one who she was like, I don't normally beg for things, but
Yes.
but I don't think you should kill me. It was something like that.
Yes. I do. I feel like if I have to guess who they murdered,
Yeah.
I really do think it's going to be Caroline. I think that
Mm.
at least I do think that it would be a little bit smart for them to throw some, you know, misdirection because
Mm.
anyone else, I feel like it'll start being like, well, how come a housewife hasn't been murdered yet? When
Yeah.
originally on the
Mm.
show, a housewife will have been murdered by this point.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
know.
I I am leaning towards. I don't think they'll kill Lon because I think people are eyeing Lon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a point where if Lon survives one more round table, the like the puppy dog like I'm a victim becomes like he must be a faithful. So it's like a
Mm.
fine line in my head. But I
Mhm.
do think Caroline and maybe Eric. That's what I kind of lean towards too.
Mm. All right. Okay. Well, I think that makes sense. I don't want it to be true, but that makes sense. In my ideal world, I mean, I like all of them, but I guess the person I feel like I could part with is Kristen, and that's mostly just because I don't know her. I didn't watch Top Chef,
Yeah.
so I don't know much of her personality, and I think she's observant. Um, oh well.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay, well, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I just want to say that I think the traders are doing very well. It's a lot of fun to watch. Like when they got up to the turret, Rob was like, "We're cooking," and unfortunately, he is correct. They are, and I love it, and I also love it because I'm just like gamers. Even though I watch some of those shows, they're so full of themselves and so annoying. And they think, I'm going to come into the traders and destroy this. And look, it's two housewives and a Love Island, himbo out there destroying y'all in this game. And I love that. And, power to the common person.
Yeah.
What we're saying we housewives are the common person? Is that what we're claiming? Too funny. I do agree though. They're doing their work. They are making like great waves, and I feel like they're set up pretty well. And I feel like as long as Jam Jam and Michael are arguing, I feel like that will
Mhm.
be something that they can just like
Yeah.
let like be under the radar. But
Mhm.
I do fear in terms of like the setup for me, I feel like the one most likely to go first would be Lisa. And I think
Mm.
Candace's uh willingness to always be speaking first, which I love. I'm
Yes.
worried that she would also be up there. But I do feel like out of the three, Rob might have the most sw like not sway in there, but more of like people trust Rob because like oh he's
Yeah.
just a guy, he doesn't know do much, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
so I'm curious to see who will clock Rob first.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Yeah, I think actually it might be Candace to go out first because
Yeah.
Lisa's another one who pulls the tears. Candace cries too, but palm colored tears go further.
Yeah.
Candace is a notorious like immediate cry baby and like is I think it's coming across that she is actually a good friend and is like a sweetheart. But if
Mhm.
people annoy her, she has a sharp tongue as
Okay.
well. So she doesn't like what is it people say or Kenya Moore said don't come for me unless I send for you.
Yes.
Candace
Yeah.
is one of those where like she's not going to start anything with you, but if you start something with her,
Right.
woo, you better you better back off or
Yeah.
and so I worry that because she is pretty outspoken, and I think it just makes me sad because I can see that she's feeling comfortable, she's feeling good, and so it's going to be a bummer to see like oh yeah all of a sudden they're going to start in the same way that they were telling they started to be like yeah Phaedra you're too much, yeah Bob you're too loud. It's like well okay that's also just their personalities, but it just so happened they
Exactly.
were also traitors. So I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know though, but I think on the other hand though, I think Lisa, people who know of Lisa, in that group, she has such a bad reputation. But the people who don't know her might be like, oh, she's just the mom of those two models. She's just like,
Right.
oh, a white lady from Ohio or wherever she lives now, Calabasas, whatever those places. Like, so I don't know. But yeah, I think right now, we could stay in the present and we could appreciate what's happening in the
Yeah.
present. Right now, they're doing great, and right now they are soaring.
Yes, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. A well-oiled machine, I think, is what Candace said.
yeah,
Yes.
So
for
I'm
sure.
looking forward to seeing them continue murdering.
Murder.
Well, that's the end of this week's episode. We will be back next week to talk about episode 4. Until then, tell me what you thought of the episode. Give me any feedback you have. Even if it's negative, I'll take it. Feel free to watch us as many times as you want and tell your friends. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.